Jonathan, cue that cool transition.
The bits.
This is gonna be great!
From Homeworld to Beach City and all the cosmos in between, this is The Bits, a Steven Universe podcast.
Wonderful intro.
Why, thank you. I just made it up in the conversation we had earlier.
Yeah, the conversation you'll never hear.
I mean, they could. We were running really weird audio checks for 20 minutes, so they could totally have that included.
Oh shoot, it was 20 minutes.
Welcome everybody to basically what we've been doing of Jonathan and Sam talking about Steven Universe, the Steven Bombs. Only this time it's in audio only format. So you don't have to watch us awkwardly fidget.
Yeah. Also, it's easier to do this when we're in separate places and stuff. And also, doing video is kind of hard. Especially for a long discussion.
Totally. So, if you're new to this and you want to check out our old discussions on Steven Bombs, you can click on, I don't know, Cookie Cat and Onion's Head here for those two videos. I think that's as far as we're going to go with visual cues on this one, so if you want to put your device down and plug those headphones in, I think we can get started.
Yeah.
So, the latest Steven Bomb came out this week, and it consists of 5 episodes, Lion 4 alternate ending, Dugout, The Good Lars, Are You My Dad, and I Am My Mom in all caps. And we're going to start with Lion 4 alternate ending.
So, what did you think about this episode?
Well, I took my notes in before and after viewing, so I can go ahead and start with my before notes. The first one being, wait a minute, am I caught up? Oh gosh, I'm not caught up. I didn't watch Room for Ruby. Oh man, how do I watch Room for Ruby? And I googled it, found it, watched it, and after that thought, I thought, okay, now that I've seen that, and I've had my heart broken by Navy, I could say I'm ready for Steven Bomb. And with the Lion 4 title, I realized I don't remember Lions 1 through 3. Like, I know we watched them, but I didn't remember what episodes it was. So I was like, I'm guessing this is a plot advancing episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because
all the...
oh, go ahead.
Because all the other Lion episodes were episodes dealing with robes and such.
Yep. So... oh, excuse me. Watching the episode, I had a few afterthoughts that I thought you'd get a kick out of. The first one being, if no one draws Steven in Kingdom Hearts now that he's wielded a giant key, it is such a missed opportunity.
Oh, it's definitely out there. You already know.
I didn't even have to Google it. I know somewhere there's a picture of Sora and Steven with their keyblades going into wherever they're going.
Indeed.
Now I'm imagining Steven with those big, giant, goofy, floppy shoes from the first one.
Oh. I don't think they ever, really got rid of the goofy shoes. They just made them a more subtle color in the second one.
He wasn't dressed like Mickey Mouse anymore. But
yeah, now he's just transitioning into his Final Fantasy character clothes.
One day Sora will be in Smash. But we're not here to talk about Sora. We're not here to talk about Smash. We're here to talk about Steven. So, Jonathan, let's start. What did you think of Lion 4 alternate ending?
I don't know. It didn't really advance the plot much, just like kind of cement some things within Greg and Rose's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was neat. Overall, I don't know, it was a nice episode. It was nice to see, like, I don't know, we haven't seen like Steven fully in the dumps about something, just like, I need to find the next thing. I need to find my purpose. Just like, and then the resolution being like, your purpose is to be you.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that the title, once you've seen the episode, makes, I don't know, it makes sense. Like, alternate ending being the whole Nora Steven thing.
Yeah.
And I had I had one question that I think is just a continuity thing that I wanted to ask you. Is there a reason that Steven can't, like, bubble his head to make a helmet or, like, walk around in a hamster ball when he's in Lion? Do his powers not work in Lion or something that I've forgotten?
I don't know. I don't think he thinks about it.
Steven doesn't think about a lot of things. Steven doesn't
Yeah,
ask the questions a 12-year-old should be asking. Like, where did this giant pink lion come from?
I think he's tried to figure that out in the past, and then it's just gone like, whatever.
Quick notes for this episode. Steven finds a key in Lion that he's thinking, oh, what does this go to? And he's trying to explore and find his purpose, and he thinks that, oh, this key must have been sent from my mom, so it leads to my destiny. So he goes around with Lion to all of the Rose-related places we've seen in the series, and then he realizes that it is a room where his mom just kind of threw away a bunch of trash she didn't need. Broken swords and doors, and a videotape that says Nora on it. And he's freaking out thinking he has a sister or like a split destiny, and he has to figure out who Nora is. So he goes and demands that Lion take him to the place where he belongs, where he hasn't been before. And Lion takes him to a hill where he finds Greg, his dad. And playing the tape, it turns out that it wasn't a big destiny thing. It wasn't like a huge cosmic intervention. It was just in case Steven was a girl. And it was just another video from his mom to let him know that he was loved. And that all he had to do in life, all his destiny was for him to be himself and to be Greg's kid and to be happy.
Yeah.
And it was a
And
super
overall,
cute.
that was nice.
It was nice. I like that.
Yep.
When Steven is talking to Lion and like demanding that he take him to a place that'll fulfill his destiny and like let him be comfortable, he takes him to his dad. Like, that's such a nice moment of like, yeah, you're wanting to feel whole and you're wanting to feel complete. Here's your family. It was like, oh, that's nice. Lion showed a little bit of care there rather than being his apathetic self.
There's sometimes you go like, Lion understands Steven. And then there's other times where you're just like, no, Lion's basically Ein from Cowboy Bebop.
Only he's grown in size and power.
Yeah.
It's Ein if no one could stop him. Good guy.
Lion's a big dog or cat sometimes, depending on the box short.
Very true, very true. I really liked the way that this episode played with the idea of existential crisis and transcendentalism. Meaning that Steven is wondering about his place in the universe, and then he finds out that there's a very thin line between finding where you belong and feeling like you belong, and realizing that what he was meant to do was to live, and he can live out however he wants and be happy because he's already done exactly what his parents expected him to do.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice philosophical balance of ideals of, hey, this is a question of destiny and belonging, a coming-of-age story, but rather than Steven have to grow and change, it was a very real situation that, hey, you're going to change into what you change into, but what's important is your mother gave up herself to become half of you, so you've already done enough. And that all she wants is for you to be a happy kid.
And you kind of, like, go back and forth on, what you call it, your opinion on Rose when she's, like, not there going through these episodes. Like, I don't know, from going from the previous arc of, yeah, Rose smashed somebody. Like, broke their diamond and broke one of the diamonds. And no, Rose was a loving mother and she did a thing that she had to do.
I think it's interesting, just talking about the extended Steven universe here. Steven universe here. Whatever the terminology is. I think it's interesting that we're talking about Rose shattering a diamond and it being a huge deal. But if we're thinking about it linearly, she chose not to shatter bismuth. So, in that way, it kind of shows a regret of her action. Not I've killed once, I'll kill again situation. But I did this once, it was the wrong choice. So I'm going to learn and grow as a leader and as a gem light alien thing and not do it again.
See, I see that as a leading up point to it. Like, bismuth going, like, we need the smash gems and diamonds. And, would you call it, Rose going, no, that's a bad idea. And being backed up against a wall to where she had the bubble, bismuth. Mm-hmm. And then that led up to the big conflict, the one she couldn't hide from everybody. Shattering the diamond.
Right. I don't know.
So,
I think we got cool stuff there.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, kind of story that we still need to, like, be revealed and let in on.
Yeah, I like the way that the lion for alternate ending kind of tied into it, because it doesn't feel like it's a big mystery to be solved. Mm-hmm. Like, it kind of feels like when you're a kid and you start hearing, like, family stories, and then, like, as you get older and you become more age appropriate for the rest of the story, you get the rest of the story. And it feels like that's kind of what Steven's going through, and so that's what the viewers are going through as well, that as Steven matures and develops, he becomes more mature and ready for these stories. So more and more is getting revealed to him as he goes, and he's just at a weird part in his life where he's ready to hear some of it, but it's not the part that he wants.
Yeah.
I think go ahead.
Oh, what'd you call it? I think you get a lot of that from his interactions with the crystal gems, where they go just like, hey, Steven, let's not... And then he's just like, just tell me what's going on already.
Right.
It's very much that he wants there to be no more secrets between them. Although there's still more secrets.
And we'll be covering those secrets on the next episode of The Bits, a Steven Universe podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Oh, we're breaking it up like that?
No, I'm joking. We've only done one episode.
Oh.
I'm just leaving mysteries to people. Will we talk about the other 4? Will we ever get a consistent layout for this podcast? Only time will tell.
Even I don't even know.
Truly. But all that heartfelt stuff aside, I'm going to tell a messed up joke now. When Steven unlocks the door and he realizes it's just his mom's like trash room, and he says, "This is just a bunch of garbage Mom left behind," I said just to myself, "Aw, Steven, that's where you belong."
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Also, I wrote alternative title: Steven takes his dreams to the dump, or Trash Day.
Wonderful. All fitting.
They can't all be pleasant, folks.
Gosh. Did you have any other notes on the episode?
I know you didn't want to do rating system, so I won't go like too into the numbers of it, but I did ratings just in case we decided to, and this was one of the higher rating ones for the Steven Bomb for me. It felt like it was a very ready to go story. Like, it didn't feel like it was a part of like a big series. Like, it felt like it could stand alone. I know Cartoon Network loves to air Steven Universe in like 3-hour blocks with fun little titles attached to them, but I felt like this was one of those rare Steven Universe episodes that you could just turn on and watch.
I feel that.
So, any closing thoughts for Lion 4 alternate ending?
Not really. It was a nice standalone episode. Finding out more about Greg's and Rose's relationship is always nice. You kind of get an emulated like feeling from Steven, where he's looking for answers and you're looking for answers, but the like message of it is just enjoy the show as it is.
You know, I feel like this show does a great job of giving the audience just as much information as Steven has. There have been very few points where the audiences know more than Steven. There could be stuff inferred, there could be connections made, but we're never shown, like, after credit scenes where Steven and the gems have left the fight and then suddenly there's a new gem coming out of the surface or whatever. Like, it all feels like we're experiencing stuff with the characters. It feels like a very organic way to reveal information and tell a story.
Yeah, because when you're told something in the series, you want it to be something that doesn't have to be explained. It has to be explained to the character,
right?
And not just like anime conveyance, where it's just like, oh, that's the super move because the super move is this thing,
right?
And we all need to know about the super move.
I'm going to throw another cartoon series under the bus. I feel like this was a big problem that Gravity Falls had, that they were trying to satisfy a fan demand for information, and so we got all sorts of like decrypted things and like secret codes and background information, to where by the end of the story I just felt like it was unfulfilling. Like, the mystery had been taken out of it already because it was just us going like, okay, we're checking boxes here. We've seen Bill do this. We've seen Bill do this. This theory's confirmed. This theory is not. And I felt like the fandom had outgrown the series to the point that the finale just seemed like it was less storytelling and more of a list of just this is true and this isn't.
Yeah, I think within that it was just like there needed to be harder puzzles. Like, because I get what Alex Hirsch was trying to do. He's trying, because he enjoyed the quarter rings and secret codes and stuff, so he wanted to implement that into the series.
Right.
But when you have like the internet, the super smart people get in already and then just go like, yeah, here's the answers, everybody.
Suddenly be sure to drink your Ovaltine's a little less satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh, and with that bashing of another beloved series, we've just lost all our viewers. So for those of you still watching, let's move on to Dugout. Jonathan,
Gosh.
cue that cool transition.
The bits.
I meant the music transition from the other video, but yeah, sure. I confused the bits. Good gosh. Alright, so the second episode of the Stephen Bomb was Dugout. Jonathan, you want to start off on this one?
Gosh. I feel like I should have been more prepared with the episode guide.
You're good, buddy. I got it all figured out. I can be the organized one for once.
Okay. So tell me about the dugout.
Good gosh.
Well, as I pull it up on Wikipedia.
All right. So for Jonathan pretending not to know what's going on for the sake of all of our listeners, the Dugout was the second episode of the Stephen Bomb in which Stephen and Connie go on an adventure with Connie's dad, the security guard, at the what's it called? Basically the pier in Beach City with Funland. That's it.
Yeah, Funland.
And they're trying to catch a trespasser in Funland, and they go and they have a lot of goofy fun. And the dad, it turns out, Doug, Connie's dad is saying, "Hey, I want you to think I'm cool because I think you're cool, Connie, and you get to go on all these big adventures, and I'm just your goofy dad." And Connie's just like, "Yeah, but you're my goofy dad who gives me a break from all of that craziness, and I know that you're my support system and always there, and that's super cool." So Connie's dad realizes that his daughter loves him and that he's cool in a different way, in the real way. And they figure out that the trespasser was Onion, or was it? Bum, bum, bum. Yes, it was Onion. And then they all leave. Onion doesn't get in any trouble because they scared the snot out of him. And then a shadowy figure is revealed. And we don't know who that is. There's two of them.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, what were your thoughts on this plot that you totally took complete notes on and remembered vividly, and I just reviewed for the audience?
Hey, gosh. I do remember it vividly. I thought, like, from the start that Connie's dad was just wonderful. Like,
agreed.
Yeah, you only get bits and snippets from the other episodes. You never really get how Connie's parents act separately, and you got Connie's mom episode in the hospital.
Yeah.
But this is the first time you got to see Connie's dad alone. And I thought that was cool. You got him, you got Steven as Green Mario. And what do you call it? Connie as Discount Store Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, I love those costumes.
Yeah. And friggin' Steven with his Italian accent.
Steven being a racist little kid. What was his name?
It was wonderful.
Pizza Papadopoulos? Was that it?
Yeah, Pizza Papadopoulos.
Oh my gosh.
That's insensitive, Steven. Stop doing that.
Problematic Steven.
Gosh.
Alright, so you dug the episode.
Oh yeah. Just like the whole promotion around the Stephen Bomb was very much like, hey, there's gonna be something going down. So it gave you a false sense that it was going to be something super real, and you're just like, okay, what's this thing they're about to face? And then it was just like totally fine. It's Onion having a good time, and you're just like, what? Oh, also my favorite line. Oh no, the laws of gravity
Oh yeah,
or physics.
when he threw the flashlight. Oh no, the laws of physics! Smack! I've got an idea. I'm gonna throw it at an angle. Oh my gosh! It was the best.
The whole, just them going around the gravitron. It was amazing. I loved it so much.
Oh.
Also, more shades of Onion to Criminal.
Oh. The whole episode was delightful. This one actually did get my highest rating in all of the episodes in the Steven Bomb.
You liked it that much?
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of this one. My before watching notes, when I read Dugout, I thought, is this a baseball episode, like a rematch? A dumb pun, but obviously it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something you can think about by just hearing the title.
Yeah, I tried to guess what the episodes would be in my before viewing thing, just based off title. And then I said, why do I feel like Doug is Connie's dad? Did they ever mention the name of Connie's dad prior to this episode, or did I just see a spoiler somewhere and not realize it? And I don't know if they did or not, but the name Doug just for some reason clicked with me of, yeah, this is Connie's dad. As well as the nostalgia critic, but that's a different thing altogether. And then I said, since the last episode was plot, I'm guessing this one's going to be a fun episode about characters. And I was right. It was a fun episode about characters.
Yeah.
After watching it, did you have a point?
Oh, I was just going to say, and it led up to the overarching thing of this Steven Bomb.
Oh yeah, big time. After viewing it, I said, I don't remember Connie's dad being silly prior to this, though I might be confusing him with the dad of the girl from We Bare Bears.
Yeah, you're right. What'd you call it? He wasn't that silly, but it's generally just because they only get the emotes so much.
Right.
And their emotion was like, oh my gosh, you're freaked out about Connie doing stuff.
Right. And I remember the snowed-in time travel episode. And I remember him being concerned about Connie's safety. And I thought, is this just like a retcon of the character? But then looking back, I thought, no, this makes sense. He's silly when his daughter is in danger. Like, okay, good dad.
Yeah.
So, jumping ahead to the end of the episode where I said Steven Universe has done a great job not doing like after credit scenes. We get an after story kind of scene with the two shadowy figures. And there's a little one and a big one. And when the first little one appears, I straight up thought it was a shadow in the shape of Dora from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy with the Pandora's Box episode. I was just like, that's what that character looks like. And then the other one pops up, and I was like, that's Cinderblock from Teen Titans. Why am I in 2004? And so the whole time before we get any sort of character reveal later in Steve Bomb, I just referred to them as Dora and Cinderblock, just in all of my notes. So when I'm reading that, don't be confused.
I won't, because like those are kind of like essentially, yeah, you're on the mark with those descriptions.
For all the confused children that are watching this that weren't watching Cartoon Network in the time, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy's the show about the kids that are best friends with the Grim Reaper. In one episode, they do Pandora's Box, but they call her Dora, and you can Google that. And then Cinderblock from Teen Titans is just Google Cinderblock from Teen Titans. He's a big Cinderblock monster. My next note was that this show has extremely emotionally supportive and available dads.
Yeah.
Like, Greg and Doug are both... You can tell, like, they're still playing with the incompetent dad trope, but they're kind of subverting it in a way that the fun silliness only is there when there isn't something to be done. Like, I felt like Doug's character being developed here is very much saying that if there's no reason for him to be serious, he's not going to be. Like, he likes to have fun with his kids. He likes to let Connie and Steven just enjoy being young and just having fun. And he wants to be cool in the eyes of his daughter. But when it came time to, like, protect them, he was like, okay, jokes are over, fun's over. I'm security guard, let's do this.
Yeah. And you get a little bit of diversity between the dads with the fisherman, and you got Pizza Dad, whose name I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, he's more angry, and then, like, once he settles down, he's more just like, okay, I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And then you have Burger Dad, whose name I also can't remember.
His name's not Frybo, but I think... Wait, no. Is it Fryman? All their names are fry puns.
Yeah. So, most likely...
I don't know. I'm going to Google it so
yeah.
we're not being mean. Though I am straight up Googling Fry Dad Steven Universe. And it's going to
No,
tell...
but cast list won't help.
His name is Mr. Fryman.
Okay, Mr. Fryman.
His name is P.D. Fryman. Ha. Google knows.
Yeah. So, you get a diversity in the attitude to the dead. It's just... No, I feel like Steven's dad and Connie's dad are fairly similar in like their goofiness.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like Doug is a bit more tied down to reality than Greg is. Greg's a bit more of a dreamer character.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like the wandering minstrel that's kind of settled in town kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Doug is kind of like, I was a dreamer, but then I had to do what I had to do for reality to protect my family and provide and all that.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely see that.
But he hasn't lost his spark of imagination.
Yeah, and he definitely like encourages it with Connie and Steven.
Oh, totally. He's like in full support of like not just them having fun, but also like just them getting to think, and he gives them opportunities to like lead the adventure, and he gives them times to, like, give input of like what could this idea be, like what could be causing this problem. And I just feel like he's a very good adult character, that he respects the thoughts and opinions of the kids.
Yeah, he's totally supportive as a dad, and he was a good character to center this episode around.
Definitely. I totally want to see more Doug.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a point down at the bottom. I compared both episodes with Connie's parents, the hospital episode and this one. And both plots were very similar. Like, the kids are putting in it, they go to do the parents' job with them, and then they have to figure out a mystery of, like, who's causing this thing. And with Connie's mom being a serious character, the plot's played seriously. But with Connie's dad being a fun character, the plot's made just for fun.
Yeah. What do you call it? You keep on going. Mine's is more like a fun thing that they put in the background.
Go for it.
Well, while they're grilling onion,
Grilled onions.
Yeah. You can look at the back wall, and there's the Buck Dewey drawing "Vote for My Dad."
Oh, I saw that. And then there was the Tiger Millionaire poster that Steven drew.
Yeah.
Those are so cute.
It was a wonderful thing to add into the background.
Dark alleys in Funland are perfect art galleries for children's art.
Indeed.
One thing I did say about this episode in my notes was that it was an incredibly easy plot to predict, but when compared to the hospital episode with Connie's mom, which was also super predictable, I like this one better just for the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think the show can really pull off the Gravity Falls style serious mystery as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just with this one, it felt like, I don't know, I always think of Steven Universe as we're having fun and then something happens, not we're doing something to solve a mystery and we're having fun along the way. And that's what I felt in the hospital episode, was they were more driven by finding answers than they were having the adventure.
I can see that.
Whereas with this one, it was the opposite of we're in costume and making jokes, and Connie's dad is throwing flashlights, and it's just gonna be great.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead. Mine's a dumb tangent.
Did you call it? Well, what a coincidence. So is mine.
Perfect.
A lot of use of the flashlight. There's a lot of great... My flashlight is the only weapon that I need.
Any Doug cosplayers have to have that flashlight. It's just a rule.
Just his trusty flashlight.
It's super, just wonderful. My random tangential point was that the Gravitron, it was my favorite theme park ride when I was a kid.
I loved it as well. Although now it just gives me slight headaches, and I'm just like, this is a thing for after I go on the roller coaster and then get on, and then I just throw up all that carnival food that I bought.
Absolutely. I haven't been on. Oh gosh, I haven't been on one since I was like 11, but I feel like, I don't know, them being in that scene, I felt like it encapsulated the ride perfectly. As dumb as that sounds, it felt very real, of like, everyone's freaking out, everything's getting stuck to the wall, but then you look in the middle and the guy's not moving, he just looks bored as heck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just good scene setting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, Funland feels like a real amusement park.
With its cheap kids sitting in a machine, Zoltron and all.
Indeed.
So, final thoughts for Dugout.
Doug's a great character. Let's see. Steven's costume is offensive a bit. The Carmen Sandiego costume was a nice touch. And the almighty flashlight.
Can we call her Connie Sandiego?
Oh yeah, Connie Sandiego. That sounds wonderful.
My final thoughts are good character in Doug, do more with him, but don't overdo him. And I just realized that Dugout is a pun on stakeout.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about it that hard. I just thought of it as like an outing with Doug.
Same. It was kind of just like, oh, Dugout. Okay, it's a Doug episode. Got you.
All right, so we're gonna go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Do you want to confusedly say the bits again?
Oh gosh, wait. You gotta pause it, space it out. The bits.
Oh, I'm never gonna get sick of that. All right,
but yeah. This time I have the description.
Radical. I'm gonna pretend to be underprepared this time. I'm just gonna minimize my notes and let you go.
Gosh. The cool kids invite Lars, Steven, and shoot, I forgot her name.
Sadie.
Yeah, and Sadie. to a party that they're having. And Lars has a deep, dark secret. He can bake! So, Steven and Sadie encourage Lars to bake something for the party. But he's too embarrassed about it. So, Steven gives him encouragement, and they go to the party, but he never shows up.
Because he died.
Oh no.
That's not what happened in the Good Lars, I'm sorry.
Indeed. But, yeah, and then, Steven and Sadie are forced to endure the party without him, and then they go home.
You say endure, but they had a super good time.
Oh, yeah. But Sadie at the start was very like, oh, gosh, I need Lars ears.
It felt like a very natural reaction.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, because that's what it feels like to be in a party with people you don't know.
Totally.
And then you finally get adjusted to everybody in the room.
It's going to be interesting for kids that are watching this and don't really understand those feelings of anxiety yet, or haven't identified them within themselves, that when they get older and they go back in nostalgia watch Steven Universe, and they'll go, oh my gosh, I thought I was like Steven growing up, but it turns out I'm such a Lars. And I just think that this show will be interesting to watch kids grow up with.
Oh, yeah. And definitely it comes in handy in childhood, because when you're hanging out with a friend, they go over their friend's house and invite you over. And you're just there with the people you don't know, and you're just like, I don't understand. This episode will be like kind of like the icebreaker within children's heads. And you just go like, hey, maybe if I try to establish a connection with these people, it'll go a lot easier.
Absolutely. I know you go over to your friend's house, and suddenly you're over at their friend's house and you don't know their friend, and then the mom's yelling because he didn't do the dishes, and then you're just sitting there awkwardly and you're like, I wish I had a dog, but then you remember that this guy's allergic to dogs. You think, why am I so insensitive? And then you see a cat and you think, oh, I'll pet the cat, but the cat won't come to you because it doesn't like strangers. And then you remember you're a stranger again, and then you just start screaming in your head, and everyone's screaming outside and there's just screaming everywhere. I'm sorry, I lost my point.
Gosh. Wonderful.
I lied, by the way. This got my highest rating. This was a good Steven bomb, apparently. This got...
Oh, yeah.
I'll go ahead and reveal behind the curtain now. This got a 5 out of 5. Because
cool.
It just felt like a very good standalone actual episode. My before watching notes, I said, looking at the title, The Good Lars, Steven's adaptation of The Good Wife, ?
Gosh.
And then I said, now I know I'm confusing Lars and Robbie from Gravity Falls in my head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I was just like, I wonder if they'll talk about why Lars used to be so happy as a kid. And I was like, wait, no, that was Robbie. Okay, never mind. And then I said, after that, I hope this episode has Sadie. I like Sadie. And then my guess for the episode plot was, I'm guessing, a less fun story, but it's about driving the characters. And I think in a way I was right about that one too.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of the Steven bomb was. It was just like, hey, we're not going to completely just do plot episode. We're going to do like hints at a plot at the end of character driven episodes. And
yeah.
that's how they more tied this one together.
Oh, definitely. It felt like, I don't know, each episode felt very satisfying. Whereas in the past we've had like this crystal gems on Jasper and Peridot's spaceship felt very cinematic, and then like the Sardonyx one felt very sequential and connected. This one feels like they're all a lot of great standalone episodes with just a background theme running. For this one, I kind of did like a stream of consciousness. style of notes. So do you mind if I run through those real quick and then we just elaborate them as we go?
Oh, sure.
All right. Just because I think they're kind of funny all put together. First one is, Steven feels the same way about pumpkin bread that Navy felt about pumpkin in Room for Ruby. And then I noted immediately afterwards, Steven should not be eating pumpkin bread.
Yeah.
Then I said, use Steven saying that this is going to be great for our intro to the Bits, a Steven Universe podcast. For the intro to the Good Lars segment, and I put a timestamp for when that was. It was at 2:10, by the way, just for when you're listening back to this.
Okay.
Then I put in all caps, why are the cool kids so cool? Then in all lowercase underneath I wrote, bingo bongo. And then after that was a background gag that I noticed, that in Lars's kitchen, there's a picture on the wall of an AT-AT from Star Wars. And it says Lars age 10 on it. So I said Lars was a nerd at age 10. After that, I said, why is a yam dish purple if yams are orange? Which, I don't know if yams come in different colors in different places, but every yam I've ever seen is orange. After that, I put in caps again, why are the cool kids so cool?
Yeah.
Then I put singing Sadie with what looks to be 25 exclamation points. Then I said the shadows being shown reminds me of the Cartoon Network Alien Week crossover event called Invaded from 2007. And I
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was going to compare this to.
Oh my gosh, we're on the same track then.
Yeah.
We can get to that when we get to it. And my final note was that the whole episode felt very Night in the Woodsy.
Yeah. Because,
Oh, go ahead.
all these episodes feel very small townish.
Absolutely. This one felt specifically like the party that they go to. We're talking about the game Night in the Woods. Sorry. The characters go to a party and some stuff happens that I won't say for spoiling that plot, because I'm just all over the place with tangents today. But that scene and this episode felt very similar in the feeling and tone that they were going to have of awkward growing up parties.
Oh yeah. And what do you call it? I think this episode solidified friggin' Buck Dewey as one of my favorite characters in the series.
Yes. Please tell me more about Buck Dewey.
Because what do you call it? Buck Dewey's delivery on everything is just slightly confused and then okay, I'm alright with that.
Oh gosh. I love him. I love him so much. All the cool kids are so cool.
Yeah, him walking in and he's just like, "Hey Buck, what do you want?" "I want you to go to my party."
Oh gosh. You remember when he was talking about Lars, when Lars wasn't at the party? And I thought, oh my gosh, this could go two directions of them saying, man, Lars is a little weird, and maybe him not getting in. But then him just saying, he said this funny thing today. What was it? It was so inspired. Oh right, it was Bingo Bongo.
And then all of them just yeah, Bingo Bongo's the coolest.
I love it. Sour Cream just going, oh yeah, Bingo Bongo, I like it. Oh my gosh. The cool kids are so accepting of everything.
Yeah, they're super supportive.
Everyone should be like the cool kids and have friends like the cool kids.
Yeah, and then what'd you call it later in the episode when they're all doing the party song and Sadie starts singing, they're just yeah, you got some pipes, girl. And it's yeah, supportive cool kids.
That scene had me smiling so much of just, I was oh, Sadie's singing, she's embarrassed, but she's going for it. It's potluck, yeah. And then she ends and they're just all yeah. I'm oh, they're being silent because they were listening, not because they were judging. They're just so nice.
Yeah. I love it so much.
And even the point where Buck is explaining the potluck, and he's like, it's an ironic potluck. And they're just like, what does an ironic potluck means? And then you find out, oh, it means we're broke teenagers, so we brought free pizza and cups.
Yep.
And then when Sadie brings in the plates, and they're just like, oh, sweet plates, it means I don't have to do the dishes. I was like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to someone who brought plates.
Yeah. Just, they're super nice, and I feel like that's a good example for people. Just like, yeah, I want to be like the cool kids in Steven Universe. And it's like, yeah.
Everyone should strive to be the cool kids.
I love it so much. Also, what'd you call it? My line for this episode was, what was it? Open up about your feelings. Or whispered.
My line would be, what kind of mother would I be if I didn't make a copy of all my daughter's keys?
Yeah, that was a good one as well.
That was this episode, right? Or was it the next one?
Oh, what'd you call it?
I think it might have been the next one. So
yeah, it's the next one.
That'll be my one for next one. My one for this one is Lars said something this morning. What was it? It's so inspired. Oh yeah, bingo bongo.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. I want an episode centered around Buck Dewey so bad.
Oh, I want Buck Dewey to have... I want the cool kids to just have a whole Steven bomb.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
Oh,
Gosh.
one thing I wanted to talk about. That super cool shot that they did where... You remember the trash can shot? Where they look in and they just see Lars's yam thing.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like, oh, Lars isn't coming. And they're just like, oh, that was such a cool angle. Just as an animation nerd, I loved that just for like story conveyance and scene transition. And oh my gosh, it was so good.
And it was well placed. It had the misdirection of just like, oh, Lars got here and then said he wasn't coming to the party because he was too embarrassed. When in actuality he had disappeared.
Dun dun dun.
And
Okay.
So did Sadie.
That's the tagline for her character. Lars did something, and so did Sadie.
Yeah, but what do you call it? Like, they complete each other, and also friggin', I don't know. It's a thing where, what do you call it? Sadie's a lot less flawed as a character, so she tends to fly under the radar sometimes.
Yeah.
While like Lars is kind of a mess in areas. So every time Sadie does a thing, you go like, oh, that's nice. And then, what do you call it, Lars does a worse thing, it totally washes it away.
Right. Can we make a comparison real quick between the cool kids from Steven Universe and Wendy's friends from Gravity Falls?
Oh, sure.
Because I think the two character groups are interesting because... Whereas the cool kids in Steven Universe are kind of played up to be like super nice, genuine people. That the whole thing that Lars struggles with is internal anxiety rather than social pressures. I feel like the cool kids in Gravity Falls or Wendy's group or whatever, they are kind of meant to be the societal expectation for teenagers. Like, they're all pretty much interchangeable, except for their one characteristic. One text, one's the whipping boy of the group, and then there were others. Like, it feels as though the characters in Steven Universe are an optimistic viewpoint of how individuals can work in a group and how that group can pull forward and enhance the characters. Whereas the characters in Gravity Falls feel as though they're a group of individuals that cannot function outside of a group dynamic and are therefore toxic for one another as much as they are beneficial.
I can definitely see that.
Sorry I took that to a dark place.
Huh. What'd you call it? Alex Hirsch writes a lot from an experience of just like suburbia and people who are weird and just don't mishmash with each other well.
Mm-hmm.
While I believe Rebecca Sugar is creating a world where, what you call it, this Beach City is a community where these people have to work together to like keep the town together.
Right.
So that kind of rubs off on the kids a bit. And Lars is a bit of a rebel from that, where he acts very differently and more violently than others, because like even in the earlier episodes, the cool kids weren't that bad. Mm-mm. They're just like, even in Rose's Garden, they were just like, yeah, we're not gonna stop doing this thing because we think it's fun. That was the worst thing that they did. And what'd you call it? They're just like, we don't like Lars because he's a mean guy.
Right.
So, in the overall like view of everything, they have petty squabbles and stuff, but since there's such a community and they kind of like work together to make this town work, or the city work, it's a thing where they can't really act violently against each other. They need to work together.
Right. And I think it's interesting just because it doesn't seem like those violent tendencies, those rebellious tendencies are there as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the cool kids do this great thing where they start to rebel and then they go, like, oh, man, my dad did this totally embarrassing thing and I never want to grow up to be like him. But also, he takes care of me and loves me and respects me, and so I guess I should keep doing what I'm doing and let him do what he's doing, because really we're just doing what's best for each other. And it's like, that was your rebellion? You were the most peaceful kids ever.
Yeah. And if you notice, all like the really violently like bad people reside outside of Beach City. Like Marty, for example. He's not in Beach City. He's out elsewhere, where just being a bad guy.
Keep Beach City cool.
Indeed. So, I think the sense of community within Beach City helps out the fact that everyone's so nice and stuff.
Absolutely. A line that stuck out with me for these characters is what Sadie said of, I wish that Lars could see that these kids are cool. Not cool like he thinks, but just cool because they're good people. And I'm butchering that line, but just that one I was like, yeah, they are super cool people.
Yeah. And it's very, very much accentuated throughout this episode. And even in the like previous episodes where they're just hanging out with Steven. If we go back to that episode where they find the spaceship and stuff.
Speaking of spaceships, we have a connection that we never picked up.
What?
Cartoon Network's Invaded.
Oh yes. What did you call it? The endings were very similar to the cutoff endings of those episodes.
Just for context, for those of you that don't remember or weren't around, in 2007, Cartoon Network did a event where each night a different show that was running at the time had an alien-themed episode, and they were all supposed to be connected. And they were supposed to be like the same aliens invading, even though it didn't really work out that way because some of them weren't actual aliens because it threw off their continuity. But it was Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Ed, Ed, and Eddie, My Gym Partner is a Monkey, Camp Lazlo, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And they always kind of hinted at the aliens, but no one really straight up said, yes, this is aliens until The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of the shadowy, looming figures over, and then the episode were cut. And that's just what that felt like to me immediately. It felt very, not nostalgic, but familiar.
And also, like, it creates that ominous of just like, oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, we're going somewhere.
Yeah, because, like, every episode would end pretty peacefully and stuff, and just like, oh, well, that didn't work out, or, okay, that was the thing. And then immediately, once you see, like, that figure and stuff, figures, you kind of just go, like, oh, and the emotion quickly has to change, and then you have, it's like, how we viewed Steins Gate and stuff, where I told you to just, like, to stop at, the last episode of the first season.
If you ever watch Steins Gate, listeners, stop after episode 12 and wait at least 24 hours.
Yeah. Because, like, how those episodes are built, it's just, like, believe you with that suspense. Just like, wait, what? And it catches you off guard.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of shot, like, kind of established that feeling really well.
It also makes the connection of, hey, this is still a Steven bomb. Like, drew it back in. And it reminds me, gosh, we're getting too tangential, but it reminds me of something that happened in the Death of Superman comic. There was, oh gosh, okay, in the early 90s, they did the Death of Superman, and again, I'm just explaining generalizations for the uninitiated, and it was a crossover of several comic titles, one of which was Justice League. And in the Justice League, they were dealing with a character named Shadowwind, and no one knew who he was or where he came from, but he was a part of the Justice League now, and no one trusted him. And in the Death of Superman, if you buy it now of, like, a trade paperback volume of just, like, the whole story collected, that aspect of Shadowwind is still there, but you never get the conclusion. You get the implied answer right before the conclusion was made, because it was made outside of the Death of Superman. But you don't get that answer. And I feel like the aliens looming over in the aliens looming over in Invaded are very similar to what our shadowy figures are in this, because it is showing something that after time has passed, people will have to look and go, okay, what was this connected to? If anyone watches the Good Lars as a standalone thing, they'll think as an afterthought, oh yeah, they never answered that. But I don't think it drives the story enough for it to be a necessary thing outside of the Steven Bomb's initial premiere.
Oh yeah. And it'll be a bit weird to, like, watch these episodes out of order or something like that, just, like, without the full context. But the episode segments before for that will be fine. And I find that will be kind of weird. It'll either be a, like, hey, I need to watch all of this, or what was that?
Right. And again, going back to comics, because, you know, that's all I'm good for. It is a situation of you don't need it for the story, but then you think afterwards, like, oh, I guess I should look that up, huh? Or you just don't think about it. I know a lot of people who read The Death of Superman don't actually care about Shadowwind. And a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I forgot all about him. I don't want to reveal it just because someone might be invested in a 20-year-old comic, but also it's hard to skip in a podcast, so don't look at the screen. Jonathan, do you mind putting up a text thing?
Yeah.
Alright, so that's what that is. You can look at your screens again if you got that out. Sorry for the delay, but I wanted people who didn't want to actively look up that information to have that information. I won't reference it again, don't worry.
So, any closing thoughts on the episode?
It was a wonderful standalone story. There needs to be more involving Sadie. There needs to be more involving the cool kids. They don't necessarily have to be together, but I like them as plot points. Sadie should absolutely sing more, and everyone should go play Night in the Woods if you like this episode.
How long are they going to tease the Sadie's Lars relationship thing? Because, like, it's kind of just like, it's not even the thing of just like, will they, won't they? It's just like, it's already established. Like, why? Who doesn't know Lars? Who doesn't know you and Sadie are going out? Like, you don't even need to finish that sentence.
Well, Jonathan, to answer that question, they're going to wait one more episode. Confused transition time.
The bits.
Fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to episode 4 of 5, Are You My Dad?
Whoa.
Jonathan, do you want to do the plot synopsis?
Sadie didn't come back.
Lars didn't come back.
Everybody didn't come back.
Steven's gonna fix that.
Yeah.
Quick version, Steven realizes that his friends didn't come back, Onion's missing, the mailman never showed up with his khakis, which was never a resolved plotline.
All that piled up mail.
And he goes looking. He finds Sadie's mom, who just thinks, oh, Sadie's an adult, she's out with her boyfriend. There's the answer to that. And, yeah. They are looking around, and then Steven comes across...
He comes across... Wait, are we revealing the two new people?
Jonathan.
Yeah?
This is the part where you say Aquamarine and Topaz.
Marie the Wise and Topaz
runs into Marie Antoinette and Tupac.
Well, Tupac does them justice a bit, but yeah, Aquamarine and Topaz.
The villains. The aliens, funny enough. We're not getting too far away from Invaded. Mind if I start off with my before viewing notes?
Sure.
For Are You My Dad, I wrote, here comes the plot, do-do-do-do. And then we're probably going to meet our shadows. This will probably be a two-parter with the next episode, I Am My Mom, just because of the parallels of the titles. Also, someone is probably going to be asking Steven this, rather than Steven asking it to somebody, because he's very affirmed in the fact that Greg is his dad. I was right on every account. I worry about the plot predictability of the Steven bomb.
As you call it, I didn't think about it too hard. What'd you call it? I thought the whole my dad thing was what you call it? Freaking a Doctor Who joke. And I was just like, haha. And then freaking I was like, these are the people kidnapping people. Why? And then Aquamarine said, "Oh, a Connie," and then I was just like, okay, she obviously knows all of Steven's friends. and she's referring to Steven's dad.
Right. I during watching it, I already knew that my dad was gonna be Greg. Like the second that I was like, oh, it's only people Steven knows. Cool. Then my dad is Greg. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, Steven must have listed off his friends and family to somebody at some point. And he did. To Peridot.
Yeah. Which they had to, like, reel that back hard. Because even I didn't remember that. I was like, oh, yeah, that did happen.
I just looked at it and thought, oh yeah, Peridot was tall when she was a villain.
Yeah, with all her, like, gear and stuff. Now she's a little Dorito gremlin.
Did you say Dorito gremlin?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She has the shape of Dorito, and she's a gremlin.
Why is everyone in Steven Universe compared to chips?
There's the Cheeto Puff, the Dorito gremlin.
Sour cream and onion.
Yeah.
Good gosh. Okay. I wonder if the whole Peridot being shortened part of the Shorty crew was a planned thing, or if it was just something they made as the plot advanced.
On how Peridot was created, Rebecca Sugar said it was a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was the thing that was like added in as the story progressed. Because when you have like a collaborative of who is this villain stuff, you're not gonna know right off the bat every detail. I think they had the base details of when she was a villain, and then when she's brought on onto the team when she gets captured. So, I think it was a developmental thing.
Okay, fair enough. So, anyway, we meet Aquamarine, who's magic wand wielding little Lolita gem, and Topaz, who's basically a giant silent gem that can split itself in two.
Yes, that people have compared to looking like a JoJo character.
You say that, but I wrote my notes. Topaz straight up reminds me of Robnos from Zatch Bell. Now there's a reference. Robnos was a villain character that was only in, I believe, 1 or 2 episodes. Real short section in the manga. Robnos had... Well, he was a robot character that when he fights Zatch or Gash, he is perceived to be immortal and like can't be hurt. He's impervious to damage. But then they find out that there's just 2 of him, and that he can split himself in 2, and that the one getting the snot beat out of him just jumped off into the rubble of the fight while the other one fought. But yeah, that's an obscure reference for like 2 people who watched Toonami in the early 2000s. And I don't even think we got to Robnos.
Sad. But yeah, what would you call it? We were introduced to that villain team, and yeah, I feel like this is a big trope being played on, like the proper leader of the group. It's the brains and the brawn type of duo.
The Freak, the Mighty, the Borf Majar, for people who remember that reference. That kind of situation. It's very common. Can I read you 2 notes that I had?
Go for it.
The first... Well, I'll make it 3 notes just to get this out of the way. The episode gave off incredibly strong invaded vibes. from the Cartoon Network thing. It was just, oh, there's a mystery and everything's ominous and creepy, and we're basically setting a stage for the aliens in the plot to show up. Oh, here they are. But also, I said, and these are two that I wanted to read to you. Also, Blue Dora is mean. So, I called her Blue Dora. And the second one was, the villain scene was so shown in anime that it hurt. Now Steven and Connie are going to spend 180 episodes trying to save Onion, with all but like 45 of them being filler arc. And in the end, the series is just going to be over, and no one will have bothered to look if Onion was ever saved.
Gosh. Wait, is Onion Orihime, or is he like Sasuke?
Onion is Orihime, yes. Thank you for picking up on that. I was just like, I swear if there's an episode dedicated to Steven and Connie running throughout Beach City, I'm done.
Good gosh.
That's an actual episode of Bleach. I don't know where it falls in the filler arc, but it's somewhere, guys. But yeah, the whole... Did I write that in the next one? Yeah, okay, I'll talk about that when I get there. But the whole thing felt very much like anime trope-ish. Of like, haha, we are the secret villain team, and now we're taking you to season 2. I mean, to another location. We're taking you to season 2.
Essentially, because this was actually the season finale.
Season 5, then.
Yeah. So, well, this episode wasn't. I think it was the next episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
it was
episode.
a two-parter.
Yeah. So. Yeah. These villains kind of like close out the season for it, and then we'll get the actual like new conflict in the next episode after the next episode
Of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but I think the shonen likeness of the episode is very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of anime nerds work on the series.
Right.
We talk about a lot sometimes that there's like Cowboy Bebop references and Akira references and all that jazz. So definitely if there is like an anime feeling in this episode, it's intentional.
Yeah. I was curious your thoughts about it in terms of just how it falls into place within the Steve Bomb itself, being our resident anime expert. How did you just feel that the scene fit, the villain reveal fit into the 5 episodes that we saw, keeping in mind that they've been teased for the last 3?
I don't know, within it, I think it wasn't enough of a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I don't know, finally getting there, it doesn't feel like, oh, gosh, that's what this is all has been leading up to. It's just like, oh, okay, these are the new villains.
Right.
Like, I like the episodes, but I don't think they tied in to this enough to like make me feel like, okay, the suspense finally paid off, or we're getting new villains. Like when we were actually like when we were volunteering this Saturday, I heard some people talk about it, and it was just like, there's two new gyms, and I was just like, what? And I was swiftly encouraged not to jump into other people's conversations. But yeah, I heard that, and I was just like, oh, okay, these are new gems. So I don't know. I feel like it could have been more implemented into the series a bit more. But at the same time, I like how disconnected it felt from those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, I like those episodes just the way they are, but they're not good tie-ins.
Right.
So, if that makes any sense.
I gotcha. It didn't feel like it was a strong enough connection to be a big reveal.
Yeah, it... Like, going back to that flashback of a Peridot, I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can accept it. It's here. Whatever.
Yeah, and it would have been more nice at the end of those episodes. You get like, "Are you my dad?" and then something indicating like them saying their name.
Mm-hmm. All right, I've got something to propose to you, and then I want to make another comparison to Invaded. During each episode that's going on in the Steven Bomb, a character disappears. So the end reveal, rather than being shadows, could be like, for the first episode, it could be mailman whose name I forget. Jimmy, yeah, him or
Jamie
Kudo, whatever. Jimmy Kudo delivering the mail and then getting grabbed, and then in Dugout, it's Onion getting grabbed at the theme park after Doug, Connie, and Steven leave, and in the Good Lars, it's Lars getting grabbed.
Oh, also, breaking news, would you call it? Line 4 alternate ending was actually a standalone episode.
Was it really?
Yes, it came out like March.
Oh, I missed it. Well, you guys got a little bonus thing. Sorry.
Yeah, but there's still enough to talk about it within us, because they do kind of incorporate, like, you've been through a lot, Steven. But
okay,
yeah,
then just take my theory and just shift people down.
Yeah, and I feel like even that would have like done a lot better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just didn't feel enough of a tie. I wanted more mystery, and there wasn't a lot of it. Yeah.
Right. Now, connecting it back to Invaded, because I feel like Invaded is a good comparison to not only the past methods of doing cross-storyline, overarching stories, but it's also kind of a nice look at how Cartoon Network presents things.
Mm-hmm.
A big fault that I felt Invaded had when it came on was that each series clearly was telling their own story, and they just happened to lump in a theme. That no definitive rules were given for the aliens in Invaded, because in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and I'm about to do a lot of spoilers for one episode of 5 series, everybody, the reveal is that Cheese is supposed to be the alien. In Ed, Nettie, the reveal, I believe, is that there are no aliens.
Mm-hmm.
In, oh gosh, what happened after that? Back to my notes.
Camp Laszlo?
Yeah, Camp Laszlo, they had different alien... No, it was gym partner was a monkey. My gym partner was a monkey. It was a pie tin that flew across the sky, and everyone just assumed it was aliens because they're animals. Mm-hmm. Laszlo had actual aliens, and then Grimm did the whole alien thing all out. But everyone's version of the aliens were different, and it felt as though the storyline was more invested in maintaining their version of things, like Ed, Nettie being a realistic show. They can't have aliens just showing up because it breaks their continuity. in Foster's, again, a very realistic show in which the only weird creatures are literally imaginary. They can't have aliens breaking their continuity, but it can be fun to hint at and just loosely connect at the end. In Gym Partner, again, a show that has very specific rules where if we throw aliens in the mix, it just adds a whole nother level that's not going to be touched again. And it adds a seriousness to the show that was never meant to exist. And then Laszlo and Grimm did it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was kind of what happened here with these stories, in that they felt as though they were written and then just had the alien thing tacked on as a loose connection.
Yeah.
Like, someone wrote out all of the Good Lars, and then someone said, but then Lars didn't skip the party. He was kidnapped. And then they're like, oh, okay, Lars was kidnapped. Sure, whatever.
I feel like the Good Lars actually had like grounds for a good setup though.
Right.
And what you call it, even like Dugout had to get it set up, because it was just like, wait a minute, if Onion did this thing, then we don't have to worry about it. But it wasn't Onion. But they didn't really set up for it not to be Onion.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, is it felt like it was storylines that just had it put in as an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like, I could very easily see Crooniverse putting out the same Dugout story, but the answer is it's Onion. Because it's always Onion.
Yeah.
If a crime ever happens in Beach City, you can bet every buck you have that it was Onion that did it.
Oh, what did you call it? That was a fun thing in this episode as well. Just like, did you check his favorite vending machine? Just like him being in the vending machine, just stealing stuff from it. That picture is wonderful.
Also, his weird room is his office.
Yes.
Lord. I still don't like Onion. Onion makes me uncomfortable.
That's fair.
Also, I didn't touch on it earlier, but Sour Cream calls Yellowtail Yellow Dad now, and that's adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the episode felt like it was an undeserved plot point.
Yeah. They didn't really, like, make you work for it. It was just kind of like, it was given. And then, it was kind of like a fake out, because you're just like, oh, Aquamarine's just this naive gem looking for, oh no, she's a mastermind.
Well, of course she is.
Yeah, but just like, why even go through the, are you my dad thing?
Legitimately, when she started doing that, I wrote down in my notes, I forgot Homeworld is full of racist aliens. Like, the second that she opened her mouth, I was like, Homeworld wouldn't send a innocent little kid. This is one of those fake outs. This is a Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. I don't buy it. It just,
Yeah.
I get that the show's a Y7 show, it's a younger audience, all that, but it wasn't a deserved fake out. It's been done too much.
Yeah, I feel that.
Now, had she done something like go, are you my dad? And he's like, oh, it's a little girl. And then she just like straight up smacks Steven in the face. That would have been fine. But just the fact that she tried to play the sweet innocent angle, I don't know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I mean,
definitely doesn't.
Think about it from a character standpoint as well, that Aquamarine straight up addresses that, oh, the job is so important that they had to send an Aquamarine to do the job. Which means in Homeworld, they identify Aquamarines as efficient, effective soldiers, right?
Yeah.
So why would she go to this planet and then go, look at me, I'm cute, when her home environment doesn't see her that way?
Exactly. She call it. And even the crystal gems freak out, just like Aquamarine.
Exactly. So why do that cutesy angle for the fake out? It's not a genuine story thing. It's just a thing for the audience.
Yeah, like even Navy was a good fake out because rubies are grunt workers.
Oh my gosh, they did it with Navy.
Yeah.
That was like 5 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's too soon to pull that again.
Exactly. But it worked with Navy because you were just like, hey, none of these like rubies were actually smart enough to pull off anything. So why would we have anything to worry about? But Aquamarine is like, oh, I'm so posh and I have a large vocabulary. And this mission is so easy, and I'm held so high in regard. You don't need to do the like I'm dumb and cute thing.
Absolutely agreed. There's no organic storytelling reason for it. It was something for the audience, and I feel like it detracts from the overall plot that they had with the Steven bomb.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to get cynical, but audience fake out red herrings are one of my biggest writing pet peeves.
Mm-hmm. And again, they had an episode where they did this well. This was not one of them.
Yeah, and I got more of a connection when Navy did it as well, because like, this is a character I know, and this is a character that was sweet and cute before. And when Steven goes, yeah, the Crystal Gems have a pilot, I was excited. I was like, yeah, Crystal Gem's gonna do Cowboy Bebop now. And then she just goes, hey, press that button, I want to show you something cool. I'm like, okay, that's not good. What's happened? Oh, okay, there she goes. And it's just like, that was a good fake. It was predictable, but it still tugged at something.
Yeah. And what you call it, like, there's more of an emotion like established with it. Well, this one, even with like the whole thing of just like, oh, maybe she's a gem like you, Steven.
There are no gems like Steven.
Yeah. Look, we built a little house for crabs. But yeah, just even that pool was kind of just like, why was this needed to be done? Just for that like fake out of like, maybe there's another human/gem hybrid.
Nope.
And even, yeah, it was just like very meh.
She's blue, Jonathan.
Yeah.
That ship is way sailed.
Yeah. Also, interesting new weapon type with the little stasis ray.
The magic wand thing?
Yeah. I call it a stasis ray because like when they put stuff in the stasis, just like suspended motion.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Another, because I like rewriting stuff, give her mystique powers. Make her a little girl with normal like flesh tones for Steven. And she's looking for her dad, and then it's revealed that she's a gem.
Oh yeah.
Like
that
she
definitely
just like
worked more.
shape shifts down, and like her little bow turns into a magic wand, and she's just like, you've led me exactly to who I need. Blue Diamond will be so pleased to have, and then it takes a pause, Aquamarine deliver to her the human gems which she so desires. It's like, oh crap, Steven. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. And it's more a surprise that way. Because then at least we can establish a connection with the character, and then But no, it was literally just like, oh, wait. Okay, we're meeting this character. Oh, okay, it's that immediately established as a villain.
Ooh, another idea. Put their shadows on top of each other.
Yeah.
So Aquamarine looks like Topaz's head. And then you meet Topaz, you think, oh, that's the villain. But then Aquamarine transforms, flies up, and sits on top of Topaz. And you're like, oh, no, wait, that's the villain. Okay.
Yeah. Very much. You already know that they're villains.
And it's still obvious, like, no one would have been shocked by ours either, but I just think it would have made better sense as a story as a whole.
Yeah, and it creates that click, and you're just like, what is that shape? I don't know what that is. And then you see it, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's what we were seeing this whole time.
And even do like a cut from looking at down at Steven, and the shadow of the two are looming over him, and you're like, oh, that's the shadow. I don't know. I feel like it could have been done better.
Definitely. Compared to the other episodes, this one is kind of like, eh.
And there's double as much of this one, because we still got to talk about part 2.
The bits?
Oh, we didn't do closing thoughts. I thought...
Homie, we talked a lot about that.
Okay,
and also, this is a 2-part episode, so what you call it? It would be better to close on the full thing.
Okay, well then my last note for Are You My Dad is Garnet drawing herself and saying, I like me is something you would do in real life.
Wait, what?
Where they're drawing
like
sketches
me.
of Aquamarine, and it's just Garnet, you drew you. And Garnet's going, I like me. Perfect. So anyway, confused bits going on to I Am My Mom. All caps.
The bits?
Please leave it just like that, unedited, of just us still talking about it after.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. I Am My Mom, all caps. I'm going to make this one quick for my before viewing notes because I have a lot of gripes. This is going to be unfulfilling plot advancement. Aquamarine will prove to be a Season 2 bridge character villain of unimportance. Topaz won't talk. Steven will save everyone. The crystal gems won't get involved in any major way. And there will be an important Steven Groves scene where he probably says, I am my mom.
Yeah. I'm not my dad. I'm my mom.
Steven, if anybody else said that, it'd be creepy and schizophrenic, but not you, buddy. Not you.
Gosh.
So those are my before viewing notes. Aquamarine, I feel like the whole time I was watching her, I got the vibe of you're an unimportant filler character villain, while the actual main villain that's on the box of this anime I've put in this DVD player is getting ready to do their thing.
Yeah. There's not much character behind Aquamarine.
Yeah, and again, to make a connection to Zatch Bell, because I just love talking about early 2000s Toonami shows, there was the way the villains worked out, the first one was Lordo Z, Zophis, and they defeat him, I think it was a him, voiced by a girl, was a him, I think. I may have that backwards. But Zophis gets knocked out, and then and it's weird because the game and like the anime and everything, they go straight to Xeno / Xeon, Zatch / Gash's anti-reverse looking self.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole arc in between Zophis and Xeno of a guy named Leo. And Leo is the most forgettable dude in all of history. Because he sets up a whole thing, then he gets defeated, and Xeno literally just picks up his plan and continues it. Like, he keeps all the guards, all the henchmen, he keeps everything exactly the same, but now he's holding the detonator switch. And that's what I felt like Aquamarine is. She's going to get everyone up there, then something's going to happen, and then the real villain will show up.
Yeah. And, what do you call it? We get Steven saving the day a bit by sacrificing himself.
By being his mom.
Yes. Rose quartz. And then, what do you call it? Yeah. So, escape attempt 1 didn't work, and then he just goes like, I'm turning myself in to Homeworld. And yeah. Didn't have really much to say about this episode other than just like, yeah, Steven saves the day. Okay. Let's get ready for the big cataclysm that's gonna be the next season. Also, I saw a bit of the next the preview that they put out for the next episode. So if you want to talk about that, then I can. If not, we shall hold off until that episode comes out and we do a podcast about that one.
Let's get all our thoughts out for this one.
Yeah.
Just so the people that don't want to have any spoilers can feel satisfied with this episode and then listen to it as an afterthought if they want the afterthought.
Okay. But yeah, that's essentially my thoughts. Okay. Everyone's just like, yay, thanks for saving the Steven. And then, would you call it, Steven goes like, oh, I didn't save everyone. I have to turn myself in. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's an episode.
It's the end of season 2 of Rick and Morty.
Yeah. But again, no emotional attachment.
Right. For my notes for this one, my after viewing notes, I already said Aquamarine was totally a season 2 transition villain.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote, Onion can talk to Topaz, and apparently Swan Dive. And I said, hey, look, the gems hardly got involved. And what bugged me in this, another thing that anime does that I don't like, and I'll use Bleach as an example here, where they present a powerful character and then top that powerful character to make another character seem more powerful.
Oh, did you call it? That is a base shonen problem.
Yeah.
Would you call it freaking Dragon Ball Z Super's having problems with that now? Essentially, what you're talking about is the power level dilemma. Once you create like levels of power for each opponent, it starts becoming ridiculous on how you have to stack the villains up. The only way you can avoid doing this is everyone's on the same playing field, but their fighting styles are different, so that's you have to figure out around that. But if you just build it up by this villain is super powerful and only one person can stop it, that like narrows down everyone else's power level, rendering those characters useless.
Right, and they did it in Bleach too, where they had I don't remember the names of them, the entities that were 100 souls or 1,000 souls or whatever at the beginning, and the Rukia comments, I've never seen somebody defeat one of these things single-handedly, and you did it. But then they get to the Soul Society and everything happens, and then everyone's just knocking those things out left and right like they're nothing.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Did it as well, where they literally had to do 1,000 plus 1 attack points for a character.
Wait, what?
Well, and I don't remember which arc it is, a villain gets an infinite amount of life points. I said 1,000,
Oh,
not
yeah.
infinite. And so Yugi literally goes, well, this is my monster. It has infinity plus 1.
Hmm.
And that's how they win. And I was like, okay. That's just silly. You've
Just
gone
bring
into
back
silly
Exodia.
land. They can't. It got water damaged.
Was there only one Exodia?
Yeah.
Oh no! What
No,
did you call it? There was
There
dude
was
who-
straight up a character point of a dude who had Exodia.
Yeah, and he had like dozens of Exodias in his deck, and he was super cheating.
I think was that a GX plotline? I feel like that was a GX plotline.
Oh no, it was Battle City.
Good gosh, Battle City.
So there's obviously other copies of Exodia.
Anime angst aside, it makes for weird writing because Alexandrite just got frozen. And I was like, oh, great. So now we're going to get Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan level Steven. Cool. I didn't want that.
Also, sidebar, that's been shortened to Super Saiyan Blue.
I like
Because-
the other version better. It makes you certain that they know they made a mistake.
See? But Super Saiyan Blue is because everyone kept saying Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and then you're just like, you know what? We need a shorter version of this, Super Saiyan Blue. You
No,
fine
you
with that?
live with your mistake. You live with your mistake. You bring in the Destroyer characters, you have to live with the fight of immortal beings in the Clash of Gods. I don't
But-
care if it takes 10 minutes out of a 20-minute episode to say a title. You're doing it.
I just like the fact that they addressed it and they were just like, yeah, we need need to change the name for this because this is getting really hard to say.
And this plot of gems, the 3 fusions being stopped by 1 gem is getting ridiculous. It's getting
Yeah.
hard to swallow. Also, Lars is still totally on the ship.
Yep.
That was just my last point that I had. I also said that the I'm my mom line was super well delivered, though totally contrived.
Also, if I can say that's all the preview was. It was just like, oh, we're gonna be so happy when we get you to the planet. I'm gonna get a commendation, and then it's just like, oh yeah, Lars is also still here, and then Steven's like, what? And then it cuts.
Well, there's that spoiler, everybody.
Well,
No,
we already
it's-
talked about Lars still being on the ship, so I was just
But
like,
that
yeah.
was just a theory. A gem theory. Thanks for watching.
Dun 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 dun.
Anyway, yeah, this whole plot felt kind of weak. I felt disengaged. And we're coming up on 2 hours, so you want to hit the final marks and then we can rank and get out of here?
Yeah. What'd you call it? Essentially, did we need to make a transition for this one as well?
No, just do your final remarks for I Am My Mom and Are You My Dad, and then we can just go to our ratings and do a transition there.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. These 2 episodes are kind of just like, yeah, we're gonna set up the bigger thing.
No, it's the big one. We promise.
Yeah, it's very much like, hey, Steven's gonna confront a thing that's not these 2 villains, and you very well know that while going through those 2 episodes. You're just like, okay, obviously they're not there to fight, because even like Aquamarine's weapon is seemingly like unstoppable. So you're just like, okay, they're not gonna fight Aquamarine. Just straight up.
Yeah. I want someone to draw a picture, and if anyone's still listening to this and has artistic ability, please do this, and I'll be sure it gets featured on the channel, of Aquamarine and Topaz, like, standing with their arms out, trying to block Steven's view, just saying, no, of course this isn't a Shark Tank.
Okay, gosh.
Because that's what it feels like it's leading up to.
Yeah. It definitely feels like there was something bigger on the other side of these two. But it wasn't them.
Definitely not them.
And
also,
that's all I gotta
Topaz
say.
and Onion can talk, so that's weird. Please let that just be Topaz's voice. They sound identical.
Hey, gosh.
Okay, so Jonathan, one more confused transition, if you please.
The bits
Rankings. Jonathan, what would you say was your favorite episode of the Steven Bomb?
I would say my favorite was Dugout. Just because I really enjoyed like the relationship between Doug and Connie and all the goofiness of the episode. Well, my runner-up being I guess it's now obviously the Good Lars. So, yeah, it's very much a thing where I'm just like, yeah, I like the episodes that didn't include the shoehorn villains.
Fair. What would you say is your least favorite episode?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Samuel. The last two.
You've got to pick one.
What'd you call it? I would say I am my mom, because it's even more of just like, yeah, this big huge stan is cool, but yeah, it's for nothing.
True. I would say my favorite was the Good Lars, as I've already said, because it was such good character building and felt very natural to the environment that it was set in, and it had a lot of just lovable moments, like the glow sticks being thrown, and excitement over the plates, and Sadie getting to sing again, which melts my heart. She's adorable. And just generally good, open, welcoming atmosphere that's a good influence for the younger viewers. My least favorite episode would be I Am My Mom, because though it had some cool standalone moments that would work as like a clip on YouTube or whatever, the episode itself felt very shallow and pedantic in terms of I've seen this episode done a million times already, and when I'm getting so few Steven Universe episodes back to back in release, I'd rather have something I haven't seen a million times.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like when this episode was going, I was just like, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and oh look, my phone has Facebook. And so I just sat and did that.
Yeah. I think I might have, like, fast forwarded a little bit, because it was kind of like, I know what's gonna happen here. It's a bit of a struggle, and then they're gonna get off the ship. Yeah.
And you know what's really weird is we've already seen this plot before too, with the last Steven Bomb with the zoo.
Oh, yeah. But again, they do it better there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they don't know how to do these.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they're setting up good stuff. We just didn't see it yet. And I'm sure when we look back reflectively, this will look better than it does now.
Yeah, I guess. I just rather see, like, it get to the setup for the big thing than just like this was a lead up to the setup.
Right. I don't know. You know what? It even would make sense if Steven just didn't leave Homeworld, because now we've seen it, it kind of removes the mystery of it.
Yeah. Again, it's a thing that's kind of like bittersweet, where it's just like, I really like these episodes. I don't want anything to go where it's just like, yeah, these episodes weren't necessary, because I felt like they kind of were. They're necessary for establishing more things within those characters.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I just didn't think the setup was necessary. If you're gonna take us on a ride to like the next big thing, show us the next big thing at the end of the season. Just don't let us like go like, okay, this is a setup.
True that. Overall, I'd say this was a fine Steven Bomb. Gripes aside for the kind of half-done ending, I feel like this one gave us a lot stronger standalone episodes than what we've gotten in the past. And I feel like when looking back, I will be more likely to rewatch this Steven Bomb than some of the previous ones.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the Steven Bomb had great episodes, but had bad ties, because even with the other Steven Bombs, where it wasn't completely like character with small tie-ins, there's still like tiny tie-ins within like the character episodes. It's just like, hey, Steven had a bad dream about what you call it, Lapis, or hey, this thing's going to happen now. Peridot called for the home ship, and so on and so forth. I feel like it could have done better in that regard, but I still enjoyed watching the episodes.
Yeah, I agree with those sentiments. So, Jonathan, any closing thoughts on this Steven Bomb as we wrap up this podcast?
What you call it? Bingo bongo.
Bingo bongo, buddy. Alright, everybody, we gave you our bits. Now give us yours in the comments down below. Tell us what you thought of the Steven Bomb. Tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, or anything that you think we need to cover next time. From Homeworld to Beach City and all the cosmos in between, this has been The Bits, a Steven Universe podcast.
Whoa, The Bits.
There you go, force that enthusiasm. Be sure to like the video, guys. Subscribe to Something About Geek Stuff for all your nerdy needs. I've been Sam.
Yeah, I've been Jonathan.
And I think I need to go save my co-host. Are you alright, buddy?
Was I not facing the mic when I said that? And I've been Jonathan.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.